Hey there, welcome to LSAT Demon Daily. I'm Nathan Fox. That's Ben Olson. We're the founders of LSATdemon.com and our weekly podcast, Thinking LSAT. We've got two questions here from Anonymous. These are questions about letters of recommendation and a GPA addendum.
Okay. Anonymous says, Hi, Demon Team. For context, I graduated from undergrad earlier this year, and I'm currently taking a gap year with hopes of submitting applications this cycle. Okay. It's already October. I haven't taken the LSAT yet, but I've studied for the past few months, and my practice tests average in the mid 160s from an initial diagnostic of 151. I'm registered for the November and January LSATs, aiming for a 170 plus. If needed, I will apply or reapply next cycle instead.
Okay, it's needed. You don't want to apply this cycle.
Yep.
I was just talking to a Demon staffer who reported that they've already received decisions on about 10% of the applications that they submitted. So if schools are out there already admitting people and making scholarship offers, why are you trying to line up after them with a November and January LSAT? You're putting way too much pressure on your November and January tests. In best case scenario, you're applying in the middle of the cycle, which is not where we would have you apply. Worst case, yeah, you add so much stress to these tests that they end up becoming basically wasted attempts. Force in a late application, get shitty offers, and take those shitty offers. That's a recipe for disaster. So why not just take all the stress out of this and commit to the idea that you're going to apply 10 months from now
Yep.
in the beginning of September of 2025?
Agreed. Anonymous continues, should I reach out to my professors for letters of recommendations now? For letters of recommendation now, even though I have not secured my LSAT score and I'm not 100% sure that I will apply this cycle, given no security in my official score. My concern is that my professors will think I'm flaky, or perceive it negatively if I receive their letters of recommendation for this cycle but don't apply, or do apply and not like this cycle's outcomes and have to reach out again next year. Okay, so let's stop right there.
You just don't have to worry about it because you can use those letters next cycle.
Yeah, and they don't need to know when you're applying. Just say, hey, I'm planning to apply to law school next cycle, and I would like to get my letter now. There's nothing wrong.
And it makes sense if it's professors that you recently had a relationship with. It makes sense that they would write your letter now.
Yeah.
Because they remember you. So it's totally fine. And they don't ever have to know when you're actually applying for law school. You can also, by the way, use the same letters in two different application cycles. That really doesn't hurt you. We would usually recommend that people refresh their personal statement, refresh their resume if they're reapplying. But refreshing your letters, nah. If the letters said something nice, they said something nice, and there's no
It's
reason
not
to
even
get
that
new
long
ones.
ago. You're applying
No.
in September. It's like they're only a few months old. I mean, by the time you get the letter, they'll be on time.
Yep.
Next question. I have an overall CAS UGPA, so that's the Credential Assembly Service undergraduate GPA, of 3.9, with a dip in the overall trend of my GPA in my sophomore and junior year, about 3.6, due to mental health circumstances. Should I add an addendum that explains my higher freshman and senior GPA with the dip in the middle of my college years? My concern with an addendum is that it will seem like I'm making excuses.
Yeah, why would you point to your 3.6 when you have a 3.9?
I mean, maybe what this anonymous or this correspondent left out is that they must have a higher GPA than the 3.9, right? So maybe
Yeah.
you want to emphasize that. But even then, it's at the beginning and the end.
So, but you could just omit the beginning and just talk about the end,
Yeah, you could.
right? Like why not say the 4.0, when I decided to go to law school, I got a 4.0 in my senior year.
No, don't even say that. Just say, although I have a 3.9 overall, I ended my last year with a 4 point whatever.
Perfect.
It makes
Yeah,
for someone, when you say, although I have a 3.9, it sounds like you're sad about your 3.9, and most people will react to that and say, well, that's great. So
Right. But point to the 4.0 that you got your senior year. I
Yeah.
agree, though, that you can't talk about your freshman year and your senior year because now it's like, well, what's missing here?
Yeah.
And then we're going to start focusing on your bad years, which is not something that's going to ever help your case. So if you want to write a short addendum about your senior year 4.0, fine, but it's not really that important. You need to get your 170 something LSAT, and your plan right now is not a good plan of taking it in November and January and forcing an application this cycle. That's just not in your best interest to do it that way. So the best thing you can do is just make the decision that you're going to take your time with your take and your all your retakes if necessary. And next September, you're going to show up with a 175 to go with your 3.9. And it's going to obviate all of these concerns about a couple of years of mediocre grades.
Yeah, great. Thanks for writing in. Email daily at lsatdemon.com if you'd like to ask us a question or share some LSAT or law school admissions news. Thanks for listening.